Hello everybody, Don't Cliché here, and welcome to another episode of Don't Disney Movie Reviews. Now before we get on with this week's review, I would like to show you something. What I'm holding right here in my hand is a copy of one of my favorite authors' books. James and the Giant Peach by Roald Dahl, who also wrote The Witches, Matilda, Fantastic Mr. Fox, The BFG, and his most popular novel, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, all of which have been adapted into feature films. Now, like I just said, Roald Dahl is my favorite author, but despite that, I've actually only read 3 of his books. This one, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and The BFG. But from what I've read, Roald Dahl truly was an amazing author. But back on to James and the Giant Peach. In the late 1990s, Disney released a live-action, stop-motion animated hybrid film based on the book, which Henry Selick directed, and it's what I'm reviewing this week. Released on April 12th, 1996, just 15 days before I was born, by the way, the movie is James and the Giant Peach. The movie opens on a beach near a lighthouse where the main character, James Henry Trotter, played by Paul Terry in his only film role, celebrates his 7th birthday with his parents, played by Stephen Culp and Susan Turner Clay. They then lie down on the beach and look at clouds. James's father shows him one that looks like the Empire State Building, which during the time the movie is set in was the world's tallest building. He then gives James a brochure of New York City and tells him that they're going there someday.
On a great ship that will take us across the ocean, and we'll go right to the top of that building. The 3 of us, on top of the world.
Are there any kids there like me?
Hundreds of them. It's a wonderful place, James. A city where dreams come true.
However, one day, a giant rhino made out of storm clouds showed up and ate James's parents. Since then, James has been sent to live with his aunts Spiker and Sponge, played by Joanna Lumley and Miriam Margolyes respectively, and they treat him like a slave.
Look at him! Lollygagging in dreamland, when there's so much work to do. Weeds to pull, wood to chop. Work, 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 work!
During the opening credits, poor James works his ass off doing chores around his aunt's house while they sit down at a table drinking lemonade and talking about how beautiful they think they are.
I look and smell, I do declare, as lovely as a rose. Just feast your eyes upon my face.
Observe my shapely nose. Behold my heavenly silky locks.
And if I take off both my socks, you'll see my dainty toes.
But don't forget, my dearest Sponge, how much your tummy shows.
James looks at his travel brochure of New York City and thinks about how wonderful the place is, but then Spiker and Sponge catch him doing so and tell him that he's never leaving them.
No one else would tolerate a worthless little nothing like you.
Where did you get this? Where?
Father gave it to me. He said we would go there one day.
Stupid, foolish man.
Foolish man, always dreaming. That's what got him killed.
And your mother.
Had his head in the clouds instead of looking where he was going.
He never even saw that rhino coming.
That rhino.
And the beast will get you too, if you don't behave.
So get these stupid dreams out of your head and get back to work.
Later that evening, James comes inside after finishing all the chores, and Spiker and Sponge just finished eating all the dinner, and they left James a couple of fish heads.
Oh, do let me guess. They're not good enough for him.
What do you think this is, Buckingham Palace?
James then takes a chip bag containing only a few chips out of the trash and sneaks it up to his room. James then sees a spider in the window and befriends it.
You know, you probably shouldn't build your web up here in the window. Spike and Sponge might see you, and they hate spiders. I'll be your friend, though.
By the way, people, remember what I said before about this movie being Paul Terry's only film role? Well, while this scene was being filmed, the spider bit him, and that's when he decided to quit acting after he was done with this film. Anyways, James draws a picture of him and the spider flying to New York City on the chip bag. He then folds it into a paper balloon, attaches his grasshopper candle to it, lights it, and lets it go out the window.
Good night. Pleasant dreams.
The next morning, Spiker tries to kill the spider. James then takes it. Sponge comes upstairs with some bug repellent, and she and James tumble downstairs.
You hit me in the face.
You hit me in the face. Oh, do shut up.
James then takes the spider outside and tells it to get as far away from that place as possible.
Oh, I wish I could.
James then meets a mysterious man, played by the late Peter Postlethwaite, and he tells James that the answer to all of his troubles is inside a bag, which happens to be the chip bag he made into a little hot air balloon the night before. Inside the bag is 1,000 little green things that look like spiral mac and cheese.
What are they?
Crocodile tongues.
Tongues?
1,000 long, slimy crocodile tongues, boiled in the skull of a dead witch for 20 days and 20 nights. Add the fingers of a young monkey, the gizzard of a pig, the beak of a parrot, and 3 spoonfuls of sugar. Stew for a week, and then let the moon do the rest.
The man tells James that with those crocodile tongues, he'll never be miserable again. He also tells him that New York City is not as far away as he thinks.
And it'll be that much closer once you take the first step.
But how? This doesn't make any sense.
Not up here, it doesn't. The answers are in here. And the magic is in here.
So James takes the bag of crocodile tongues, and the man tells him to not let them get away, because if they do, they'll work their magic on who or whatever they meet first, and then the man disappears.
What's going on out here?
James then runs back to the house, but he trips and all the crocodile tongues spill out of the bag and make their way into the ground. Spiker and Sponge then yell at him because they think he's lazing about.
I wasn't lazing about, I tripped.
How dare you disagree with us? Beat him, Sponge.
It's too early.
Well, that makes you the luckiest boy alive. Now, come inside and get dressed.
Sponge then sees a peach in the tree and shows it to Spiker.
How can we get it? The boy.
So Spiker and Sponge have James climb up the tree to pick the peach, and they're not planning to share with him. But as James starts to climb the tree, the peach starts growing and James climbs down.
What a peach! What a peach! Look, Spiker! It's still growing! I'm not blind, you dolt. I can see it myself. Oh! Look it go! It's a miracle! My heavens! My... Can you smell that, Spiky? It smells delicious. No,
It smells like money.
So Spiker and Sponge make the massive peach into a tourist attraction and have people pay to see it, but James was forced to stay inside.
No peeking at the peach! Have your money ready, ladies and gentlemen! Here you go.
Can we touch it?
Touch it? You want to touch it?
Should be wanting to taste it next.
Admission refused. This child has too many cheeky ideas. Go away!
Quite right.
Oh, Sponge.
A photographer.
And another.
This side.
Move on
No
in.
cameras allowed. No dawdle. Come along, ladies and gentlemen.
Sorry, Father, it'll cost you double.
May God forgive you.
Thank you, brother.
Later that night, while Spiker and Sponge are counting their money, James comes downstairs all dressed up saying that he was hoping to play with the children.
Oh, the children have gone. But you can play with their garbage.
Garbage.
And don't even think of going near our peach.
Because if you do, remember they never did catch that rhino.
While James is picking up all the trash that the tourists left behind, he finds his bag with one last crocodile tongue inside. It escapes and James follows it to the peach. James scoops out some of the peach, the crocodile tongue makes its way into it, James takes a bite, and it's delicious. Suddenly, a tunnel forms where James scooped out, and he climbs up into it. As he climbs, the crocodile tongue turns him into a stop-motion puppet, and he hears voices at the end of the tunnel.
Here now, where do you think you're going, Yak?
I'm going stir crazy. I gotta take a look around. Plan our escape from Spiker and Sponge.
Escape? To where? We'll all be squashed, slaughtered, smooshed.
No one's going to smoosh you, my dear boy. You're 6 feet long now.
Bigger target.
Let the biddies come. I'll take them both on. I'm indefeatable. I'm indivisible.
James then falls into the pit of the peach and meets some giant bugs, including a glowworm voiced by Miriam Margolyes. By the way, folks, Miriam Margolyes is the second person to ever play a live-action character and voice an animated character in the same Disney film. The first person was James Baskin in Song of the South nearly 5 decades before this film, where he played Uncle Remus and did the voice of Brer Fox. Anyways, there's also a grasshopper voiced by Simon Callow, an earthworm voiced by David Thewlis, a centipede voiced by Richard Dreyfuss, a spider voiced by Susan Sarandon, and a ladybug voiced by Jane Leaves.
You enormous bugs!
Fascinating, isn't it?
We've all changed. And so have you, James.
The old man, the one who gave me the green things. He said marvellous things will happen.
Did he say marvellous pigs in satin?
No, dear lady.
Marvelous things will happen.
Poor glowworm. She's a little deaf.
I, however, have exquisite hearing.
Yeah? Well, listen to this.
Let's get out of here!
You mean leave the hill? I can't. The rhino will get me.
Rhino?
I say, dear boy, I've lived on this miserable hill for decades. There are no rhinoceri here.
Except for Sponge. She's twice as big as a rhino, eh, kid?
Suddenly, James and the bugs hear Spiker and Sponge coming outside to look for James, so Mr. Centipede peeks out of the peach, cuts the stem, and the peach starts rolling as Spiker and Sponge get to their car and try to drive away.
Stop, you piece of junk!
After rolling over the car, the Peach rolls down the hill into the town through the countryside where some fence panels attach to it, and then the Peach lands in the ocean. The next day, James and the Bugs find themselves floating in the Atlantic Ocean.
Oh my!
Oh, my.
Oh, my aching back.
Oh. Fascinating, isn't it?
What? What's fascinating? Tell me, don't leave me dangling.
We're in the middle of the, how do you say, the big puddle.
Biggest puddle in them all, Angel Fangs. The Atlantic Ocean.
Technically, the Pacific is larger.
Well, that goes without saying.
But there is land in sight.
Nothing but blue skies and clear waters.
Oh, this is all your fault.
Hey, wasn't for me, we'd all be spiked and sponged by now.
James then finds his travel brochure in his coat and sees that they're on their way to New York City.
New York? They love me there.
Wonderful! They've got a whole park full of leaves for you, Miss Ladybug.
Central Park.
And loads of dark hiding places.
Nightclubs.
And museums and concerts.
Not to mention Yankee Stadium.
What about me?
Why, they've got miles and miles of underground tunnels.
The subway.
My father says it's the place where dreams come true.
However, they wonder how they're going to get there.
I'll get us there.
You?
Sure. I sailed all the 5 seas. From the sun-drenched reefs of Bora Bora to the icy shores of Tripoli. Commodore Centipede, they used to call me.
7.
Huh?
There are 7 seas, and Tripoli is in the subtropics. Commodore.
Trim the sails.
There are no sails.
Stoke the engines.
There are no engines.
I can't work with this miserable crew.
Great! We're stuck here until we shrivel up and die.
Highly improbable.
That's a relief.
We're far more likely to drown.
James then gets an idea to make the Peach fly with seagulls, so they use Miss Spider's string to catch them and use Mr. Earthworm as bird bait.
Anything but birds!
Don't worry, I'm right here. Now wiggle.
No!
But they won't come if you don't wiggle.
Exactly! And you can't make me!
Oh, yeah?
Oh, hey, don't there! Mockingbirds munched me mother! Help me!
Here comes the first one. Get ready to pull down there.
My sisters were swallowed by swallows!
Pull!
James manages to catch one seagull, but then they hear something in the distance. It's a giant robotic shark, and it's coming after them, so now they have to hurry and catch more seagulls, and they use Miss Spider's web as a net.
Oh, here, dearie.
James then manages to catch a whole flock of seagulls. They tie them to the peach stem, and the peach is lifted out of the water. However...
Oh dear!
They're getting away!
Hop on, James! Now grab them!
As the peach rises into the air, the shark explodes.
Hey! Teach you to mess with me, you overgrown sardine! I'm from Brooklyn!
Oh, pure twaddle. Every bug on board displayed extraordinary courage.
You're all forgetting something. Everything we did was part of the brilliant plan of James.
It really did work, didn't it?
I say 3 cheers for James. Hip hip,
Hooray!
Hip hip!
Hooray!
Hip hip!
So now they're officially on their way to New York City. Later, Mr. Earthworm is upset about being used as bird bait and then shark bait, so James tells him his parents used to say that when he had a problem, try looking at it another way.
Or you could say you gave us wings to fly and defeated a giant shark single-handedly.
No-handedly.
Exactly. You're a hero.
I am. I'm Wonder Worm.
You are.
Later, Mr. Centipede becomes starving.
Oh, perhaps I have a bit of soda bread in here somewhere.
Food?
It's not much, but it's...
Not so fast.
Hey!
I need this food. I have a much higher metabolism.
Fight me!
What?
Have you two gone mad?
Let go of it, Gramps. Let go of my coat. Give it to me.
Oh, my lower thorax.
I'll rip you apart.
I tell you, it's mine.
Back!
Now look what you've done.
James then tells the bugs that they can eat the peach because it's food.
Oh, such a clever little boy.
Takes after me.
After you, there is nothing left to take.
Delectable.
Better than aphids.
Better than ladybugs.
What?
Excuse.
It's not dirt, but it's not bad.
Not bad. It's the best thing I've ever tasted, and I have tasted a lot.
So James and the bugs chow down on the peach. That night, everybody has gone to sleep, and James talks to Miss Spider about being alone.
I was alone for a long time once. I think it's much nicer to have friends, don't you?
I would not know.
They would be your friends too. The others, I mean. If you just let them.
No. It is in their nature to have fear of me. This I cannot change.
You're very kind to me.
Maybe this is because you are kind to me first.
James then realizes that Miss Spider is the spider that was up in his window.
You were my first friend. I mean, since I went to live with my aunts. They hated me.
Shh, do not think of them now.
But what if they find us? What if we don't make it to New York? I'll die if I have to go back to the way I was. They can't make me.
Nobody can make you do anything, James. If you do not let them. You are a brave boy. Now to sleep. You have had a very tired making day.
James then goes to sleep and dreams about being a cutout animated caterpillar eating a peach. Spiker and Sponge, made of spikes and sponges respectively, then show up.
You can't crawl away from us!
The next morning, James wakes up. He and the bugs find themselves in the Arctic Ocean, and they blame Mr. Centipede for his navigation.
You said you could navigate.
You said you traveled the world.
You said you'd been to Bora Bora.
Well, not Bora Bora per se.
What about the shores of Tripoli?
Did I say Tripoli? I meant the holes of Montezuma.
That's what you said.
Never have I heard such mendacity.
Charlatan!
Wait! If he says he's seen the world, then he's seen the world. Right, Mr. Centipede? Right?
Well, I did used to live between two pages of the National Geographic.
Huh?
Very informative magazine, the National Geographic. Wonderful pictures.
You incompetent, blithering nitwit.
They then wonder how they're going to get out of there, especially since they don't have a compass.
Don't ships have compasses?
No doubt, but to brave those icy waters would mean certain death. Only a fool would do it.
Mr. Centipede then jumps into the water to find a compass, and James and Miss Spider go after him.
Stay by the line, and when you feel 2 tugs, pull us up.
On a sunken pirate ship, Mr. Centipede enters the captain's quarters where he sees the captain, who happens to be Jack Skellington from The Nightmare Before Christmas. And he's holding a compass, which he takes. However...
I should have worn a belt! Holy shipwreck!
James and Miss Spider then arrive. The pirates stretch Mr. Centipede out, and as he's about to get cut in half, James stops them, and a battle for the compass starts.
Cut me loose! Get the compass!
By the way, everybody, one of the other pirates is Donald Duck. Anyways, James, Mr. Centipede, and Miss Spider get the compass and head back up. But Mr. Centipede is taken back down and fights with the pirates.
Oh, thank goodness, you're all right.
What happened to Centipede?
He found the compass for us.
And a shipload of pirates.
Hold this. I am going back.
Do be careful, Miss Spider. Poor Centipede.
You saved our lives down there.
Look out! Miss Spider!
Mr. Centipede then comes up to the surface dressed as a pirate.
Centipede, I do not know whether to kill you or kiss you.
Well, I'm sorry.
My sincere apologies.
I just want to apologize.
I just wanted to say...
What I'm trying to say. That's enough chit-chat. I'm freezing.
Once the compass is ready, Mr. Centipede steers the Peach out of there. That night, Mr. Centipede is exhausted from steering.
Cup of Joe.
Mr. Grasshopper then comes up, has Mr. Centipede take a break while he steers for a bit. Meanwhile, James looks at his brochure and hears violin music. He sees that Mr. Grasshopper is playing a violin.
That music.
Oh, Sir James, did I disturb you? So sorry. I'll put this away.
No, I like it. I used to hear it at my aunt's house before I went to sleep. That was you, wasn't it? Or do all grasshoppers play music?
All grasshoppers cry. I'm sure you've heard this. Ghastly, isn't it? Cricket stuff. Music should be the voice of the soul.
A few minutes later, James and the Bugs see that they've made it to New York City.
Stunning!
Oh, glorious.
Look at the park.
It's fabulous.
We have made it.
What a wonderful sight.
There's Lady Liberty.
I can almost smell the lovely dirt.
Is it not beautiful?
The Empire State Building.
See those lights? Whoa! Yippee! Attaboy, Jimmy!
Good show, James. The city awaits us.
Now remember, James, first impression is very important.
However, a storm starts and the rhino shows up.
Oh, James, do something.
By the way, you guys, I would like to take this moment to tell you about a difference between the book and the movie. In the original book, the rhino was an animal that escaped from the London Zoo and ate James's parents while they were out shopping, and it's all we ever hear of the creature. But in here, the filmmakers decided to have the rhino be made out of storm clouds. Anyways, James has the bugs climb up the seagull strings and confronts the rhino.
Come out and show your face, you stupid beast!
Good God Almighty!
Remember what your parents said, James? Try looking at it another way!
You're not even a real rhino! You're just a lot of smoke and noise! I'm not afraid of you!
The rhino then shoots lightning from its horn, causing the fence panels to detach, cutting the seagull strings, sending James and the Peach to plummet while the bugs are flown away with the seagulls. After a few minutes, James comes to, coughs up the crocodile tongue, causing him to turn back into live action, and climbs up the tunnel.
This isn't right. Where's the Empire State Building?
The camera then zooms out to show that the Peach has landed on top of the Empire State Building and juice starts dripping from it. A police officer played by Mike Starr sees the Peach and gets to a police phone.
Mabel, we got us a huge unidentified object here.
What's it look like?
Round, fuzzy, looks sort of like a giant fruit or something.
Well, what is it?
I don't know what it is. Just send us the biggest crane in New York.
A huge tower crane then arrives, a construction worker helps James, and the Peach is lowered onto a truck. The fire department then arrives and helps James down from the Peach, but just then... Spiker and Sponge, who weren't killed by the rolling Peach like in the book, followed James across the ocean. They explain to the officer that they're James's legal guardians, lie about missing him, and say that they're taking him home.
And the Peach, of course, they're taking that as well.
Wait a minute. Back up. You mean to tell me that this thing is a peach?
It's not a peach. It's our peach.
Our peach.
Show him, Spongy.
Looks like it's their peach, all right.
Yeah. Yes, and we're very proud of it.
We're going to be in the record books.
Not their Peach. The old man gave the green things to me. That's what made it grow.
Spiker and Sponge lie that James is a chronic liar and needs treatment.
Well, that's why we're here, to bring him home. So you come here with us, eh, Luffy?
I'm not the one who's lying, they are.
As you can see, officer, it is urgent that you release him to us immediately.
Let the boy speak! All right. Let's get to the bottom of this. This thing is a peach. All right, I'll buy that. Now, does somebody want to tell me how it got here?
We attached it to 100 seagulls.
Seagulls?
That's what happened. Me and Miss Spider and the centipede and the old green grasshopper.
I think he's gone mad.
Spiker and Sponge then try to take James home with them, but he refuses and reveals to the crowd how they treat him.
I hate that house and that cold room, and how I was always hungry.
All right, that's enough.
And how you beat me. He's lying! And tell me I was nothing!
Shut up!
Shut up! No, not this time. I flew in a giant peach across the ocean. I landed on top of the tallest building in the world. I made it! I'm not the one who's nothing, you are! And I'm never going back with you! Not me, and not the peach!
How dare you speak to us this way?
Spiker and Sponge then try to kill James with axes for refusing to go home with them. Suddenly...
James! Up here!
Hello, we're here. Hey, buddy. What are they? Young James. Hey, Jimmy.
What?
Need a little help down there? Giant bugs!
The bugs show up and they're proof to the crowd about James's journey. James then lassos Spiker and Sponge. The bugs lift them up and James has them tie them up in Miss Spider's string.
Tighter! Tighter!
Well, I'll be the kid was telling the truth.
Get those two creeps out of here!
Spiker and Sponge are then arrested and taken away.
Everyone! These are my friends! The ones I've been telling you about! Mr. Centipede! Old Green Grasshopper! Earthworm! Mrs. Ladybug! Miss Spider! And the Glowworm! God bless the colonies!
James then allows the people of New York City to eat the peach, and I think I'll let the narrator finish this off.
They ate that peach all the way down to the pit and set it up in Central Park as a permanent home. And James Henry Trotter, who once was the saddest and loneliest little boy you could find, now had a loving new family and all the friends in the world.
James, dinner is ready.
All right, nearly finished. And then the seagulls.
And since James's visitors begged him again and again to hear the story of his adventure with the giant peach, he wished for a way to share it with everyone. And that is exactly what you have just seen.
And that was James and the Giant Peach. What did I think of it? I loved it. But unfortunately... it bombed. On a budget of $38 million, the movie made about $29 million domestically and $37.7 million worldwide, but it did receive great reviews. Now let's move on to the production of the film. When trying to turn the original book into a movie, it took 12 years to do so, mainly because Roald Dahl refused to let it happen. Mostly because he hated the film adaptations of his books that were released in his lifetime, like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory and The Witches. The only one he did like was Cosgrove Hall Productions' 1989 animated adaptation of the BFG. But then, after his death on November 23rd, 1990, his widow Felicity Lissy Dahl would go on to give the film rights to Disney, and Henry Selick took the job as director right after finishing The Nightmare Before Christmas. Originally, Andy Partridge was going to write the movie's songs, but he didn't like his end of the bargain, so he quit and was replaced by Randy Newman. Also, Henry Selick originally wanted the entire film to be stop motion or James to be live action throughout the whole film. But then he decided to make the film a cross between live action and stop motion animation, to be easier on the budget. For the designs of the movie, they were based on the illustrations of a version of Roald Dahl's original book by Lane Smith, who was also hired as a conceptual designer for the movie. Now let's talk about the songs of the movie. The first song in the film is called My Name is James, sung by James while he's drawing a picture of him and the spider flying to New York City on the chip bag.
My name is James, that's what Mother called me. My name is James, so it's always been. Sometimes I forget when I'm lonely or afraid. Then I'll go inside my head and look for James.
It brings a tear to your eye, doesn't it? After that comes That's the Life for Me, sung by the Bugs about their dreams of going to New York City.
Where the food is great and the bugs are so pretty, I like to get my arms around 100 or so. I'd hug them, squeeze them, hold them tight, sleep all day, dance all night. I want the bright lights and the big city. That's the life for me, yeah, that's the life for me.
This is my favorite song in the whole movie. Then comes Eating the Peach, sung by James and the Bugs while they're chowing down on the peach, which is actually in the book.
I'm crazy about mosquitoes on a piece of buttered toast, and pickled spines of porcupines, and then a great big roast, and dragon's flesh quite old, not fresh. It costs a bucket most.
Does it come with gravy?
It comes to you in barrels if you order it by post.
The next song is Family, sung by the Bugs about their love for James.
Love is the sweetest thing. Love does exactly what it wants to do. Love is the way we feel for you. We're family. We're family.
This is my second favorite song in the movie. And finally, there's Good News, sung by Randy Newman during the end credits.
Once upon a time there was a vulture and a hog living in a house up on a hill. Had this little boy who lived with them, and they worked him like a dog. With any luck they'd have him up there still. Along came a magic man with a magic bag full of nasty little green things in a funky old rag. He said, boy, you may not know it, but this here's salvation you see. Son, you're going down in history.
And now it's time for me to give my opinion on the film. In the end, James and the Giant Peach is one of the best film adaptations of Roald Dahl's books. While it does make some changes from the book, like giving the rhino a bigger role in the film, keeping Spiker and Sponge alive at the end, and replacing the Cloudmen with pirate skeletons, it's still a great film. So with all that said, I award this movie with the highest rating of 5 gold stars. Well, that's it for James and the Giant Peach. Be sure to join me next week when I'll be reviewing the first Disney film made by the new generation of animators and directors. And if you enjoyed this video, then please tell your friends about me, leave some questions in the comments below, subscribe, and hit that like button.
Good news blowing in your window. Good news is knocking on your door. Good news is coming round the corner. Good news roll around your floor. Where can all my troubles be? Must be good news chasing me. Good enough to set everybody free.
Put him up, come on. Give me your best shot. Oh, good shot.